Good morning, everyone. Happy Thursday. Hope everyone's having a great week. Welcome to our Form Simplicity training. This, of course, is a class on the transaction management system that we have here as members of the Miami Realtors. And we are recording our session. I will load our session into our YouTube channel. Those of you that have never visited the YouTube channel, this is where we load all of our trainings. And if you check inside of your chats, I'm about to share with you our YouTube channel link so you guys can subscribe, rewatch all of our trainings inside of the YouTube channel. All right, so once again, this is a class on form simplicity, and it is a service of the Miami Realtors, and it is the system that we use here at Elite for our transaction management. Now, inside of your Miami gateway, you are always going to locate Form Simplicity, and it's right here. And once you guys click on Form Simplicity, it'll log you in. Guys, if you have any questions throughout the presentation, please feel free to ask questions. You can unmute yourselves, ask questions, or you can just type on the chat and I will respond to all of your questions. All right. So here we are looking at Form Simplicity. It is a product of the Florida Realtor. So through your association membership, you're going to get Form Simplicity. Now, Form Simplicity is absolutely included with your membership. However, the electronic signature or the eSign is not. I already have the eSign. eSign can be purchased for only $85 per year. So those of you that log into Form Simplicity and you look on the upper part of your page and you see the button that says upgrade, that means you do not have e-sign or electronic signing. You can purchase it for a one-time fee per year of $85. All right, so I unfortunately cannot show you the upgrade button because I already have the upgrade. All right, so look at your Form Simplicity and let me know if you see it on yours or not. All right, so this is Form Simplicity. Of course, this is where you will have access to all of our contracts, disclosures, and much more. All right, so we are going to go step by step and kind of take you through Form Simplicity, how to work a transaction, how to look up contracts, and how to obtain electronic signing from your clients. All right. Now, before I get started inside of Form Simplicity, I also want to mention that once you are inside of a listing in the MLS, so this is the MLS, everyone knows what we're looking at, right? We're looking at a property in the MLS. And say you wanted to start a transaction for this because you have a buyer who's purchasing this, then you click on FS. You see up here, this little link here, FS will lead you into Form Simplicity and it'll create a transaction for you right away. All right, so that's a shortcut into getting into Form Simplicity from a listing inside of the MLS. All right, so let's take you back into Form Simplicity and kind of show you around. All right, so you want to begin first up here where it says preferences. You want to just check your preferences real quick. You have account information. So this is all of your information. So your legal name here as it shows on your real estate license, your email address. All right. So my cell phone number happens to be incorrect. That is our office number. So I'm actually going to change this, okay? So I want to change this to my cell phone number. You know, weird thing, I had never noticed that my cell phone number was incorrect there. All right, so that is my cell number. That is my email address. This is my NRDS number, which is your national ID number. And of course, we are all with Elite Ocean View Realty. All right, we're gonna go ahead and click on Save Changes, and we are now, through with our account information. All right, another one I want you guys to check is the email notifications. Here, you can turn on notifications as you wish. So the only notification I really have is turned on is the one that says when a transaction is shared with me. All right, and then your email preferences. All right, email preferences. You have over here manage eSign and manage eSign templates. Sorry, that was not the email preferences. That was the eSign preferences. All right. How come I don't see the email signature? I don't see the email signature anymore. Oh, there it is. Okay, so in under general settings, all right, if you guys wish to create an email signature, you can. And basically what I do is I go ahead and I copy an email signature I already have created like this. And then I go over here and I paste it. All right. I paste it and then I click on save changes. You want to have an email signature. So when you get ready to send out emails through Form Simplicity, then the signature shows up. All right. So those are some of the preferences. We'll get into eSign a little later. All right, so that's just some of the preferences I wanted to cover at the beginning of the course. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and click on home. Guys, by the way, if you ever need help with Form Simplicity, there's an excellent resource up here in the upper right corner called Help. You can click on that. They even give you a tech support number in the event that you'd like to talk with Form Simplicity directly. All right, so blank forms. This is where all of the contracts are located. Transactions, of course, is where all of your transactions will be located as well. And recent transactions in your homepage are the transactions you've been working on recently. We're going to go ahead and click on blank forms right quick. And here you're going to notice three folders. You're going to notice the Board of Miami Association of Realtors. You're going to notice the Florida folder. And then you're going to notice a third folder called Fannie Mae. All right, let me go ahead and close out the Florida folder. And you have a third folder called Fannie Mae. So the majority of the forms we use are located inside of the Florida folder. And I have them sorted in alphabetical order. So these are all the forms, beginning with addendum to contract. All right. Now, we've made it easy for you to locate the forms that you should use for any individual transaction. And that's inside of what's called form packages. You see up here, form packages. Now, that's not to say that you can't use one of these forms. It's very simple. Let's say you're looking for a lead base disclosure, right? Just type in the word lead and then click on the little search, and then you will see here the lead base paint disclosure. Okay, now the blank forms, right, are straight from the Florida Realtors. So from the attorneys at the Florida Realtors that created these forms. Now the forms packages uses the same forms, but we've grouped them in packages already for you. So let's take a look. We're going to click on forms packages. Now Elite Ocean View Realty has prepared packages for you. Here we have a buyer package. We have a commercial package when you're working commercial transactions. We have the exclusive right to sell package, which is when you're working a listing for a residential property. And then here we have the exclusive right to lease package, which is, again, when you're working a listing to lease a property, residential. Here we have the lease package when you're working with a tenant that's looking to place an offer on a property for rent. And then we have the contract as is for our bar. So this is the purchase contract as is. And then you have the purchase contract CRSP. Now, we hardly ever use the contract CRSP. So you're either going to use the as-is package when you're representing a buyer, or just go straight to the buyer package. We've pre-filled everything for you. All right. Now, you guys cannot change these packages. You cannot delete these packages or even modify the package. You can just use the package. The good news is that you can always create your own package by clicking on create new package, and you can create your own. All right, but we've already done this for you guys. There's no need for us to create our own packages. But in the event that you do want to create a package, it's very simple. I'm going to show you something very simple here. We're going to click on create new package, and we're going to call this contract to lease. All right, or in our industry, you're going to know this as CTL, right? So we're going to go ahead and create this form package. You're going to notice now under personal, we have one called contract to lease, CTL. So all we've done is we've created a folder, right? We labeled the folder contract to lease, CTL. Now it's time to fill the folder up with documents. So add blank forms, right? And then from here, you're going to look for the contract to lease. So we're going to go ahead and look for contract to lease. Here it is, select it, and then add to package. We got one document inside of our package. Say you wanted to also add the lease agreement. All right, we're gonna go ahead and open up blank forms. We're gonna type lease. We're gonna hit search, and we're gonna add the lease agreement for a single family home and a lease agreement for an apartment. And then we're gonna go ahead and click on add to package. Now we have 3 forms. Say you wanna add the compensation agreement. Then you're gonna click on add blank forms. And then right here, we're gonna go ahead and spell compensation. We're gonna search for it, and it's the compensation agreement, right, that we need when we're working with a tenant. So where is it? It's right here, owner listing broker to tenants. Select it and then add to package. You see how easy that was? You created your own package. This does allow you to modify. It allows you to delete forms. It allows you to create your own package. All right. If you want to delete a package, you're just going to go ahead and click on delete forms package on the upper right corner, and that's going to wipe it all out. All right. I'm going to delete this. I don't want to confuse myself. We have the broker packages. All right. They're sufficient. They're here. They're for us. Any questions on packages? All right. Or where you can find blank forms, right? When you go to the forms library, and you open a form, it's going to be in blank. You can print it, you can download it, you can fill it out. So let's open an addendum to a contract right here. Notice it's completely blank. And notice all the blue shades. All these shadings in blue represent fillable fields, fields that you can type, right? And then you can print it, you can save it, and of course you can close this out. All right, any questions on the blank forms? I'm gonna go ahead and close this without saving. All right, we're gonna close this without saving. All right, so next up, we're gonna actually show you how to create a transaction from inside of Form Simplicity. All right, so we're gonna take you through these steps. So open up the MLS. If you are working with a buyer or a tenant and you find a property and now you want to prepare an offer, this is a property that's for sale. We're gonna go ahead and click on Form Simplicity right up here. And that's gonna open up the Form Simplicity. It is gonna auto-populate all the information into Form Simplicity. Notice here we have the street address and we have the list price. Now it's time to pre-fill the seller's name. All right, we can find the seller's name inside of public records. So once again, we're gonna go back to Matrix and the actual listing. Notice the symbol to the left of Form Simplicity. It's a letter I, right? It's IMAP. This is one of the public record systems we use. I am going to right click on this and open in a new tab, and we're going to find out who owns this property. So we have Randy Carriel and Patricia Carriel, right? So now we're going to go here to Form Simplicity, and we're going to put in Randy, or you could have copied and pasted, right? And Patricia. All right, we've now pre-filled the owner's names. Next up, you have over here the listing agent, and now we have the purchase price. So let's say that we're going to offer $750,000. All right, so purchase price $750,000. Now we put in our buyer's name. So today's buyer is Michael Jordan. All right, so today's buyers, Michael Jordan by himself. If you have multiple buyers, then you would do the same thing as I did with the sellers. You put and then the second person. And then of course, your name under buyer agent. And then you want to click on save to a transaction. Next is we need to name our transaction. So here's the street address on the right. It says transaction name. We're going to give it the same name. I'm also going to just do a little space here, a little dash, and I'm going to put in training. All right, so I know this is a transaction I created in a training class. Property type, this is a residential property. Transaction type, we are purchasing this property. We have listing, purchase, listing and purchase, lease rental. All right, purchase. Save to a new transaction. All right, so our transaction is now created. We have the information here. We have the list price. We have the purchase price. We have the buyer's name, the seller's names, right? Now it's time to add forms. So what do you guys think? Should I click on add blank forms or should I click on add forms package? Anyone? What should I do? I'm going to answer it for you. We're going to click on add forms package, right? And then we are going to select the buyer package. Now, I want you guys to keep in mind, there's a lot of forms in the buyer package, all right? So we don't need all of these. What do we need? Well, first and foremost, we hope that you already have a buyer broker agreement signed with Michael Jordan, right? In the event that you don't have one, then you must have that buyer broker agreement signed. You know, the fact that we already went to see the property and Michael wants to buy the property, that means I already have a buyer broker agreement signed. All right, so I'm not really going to add it. We are going to need the as is residential contract for sale and purchase. That's the actual purchase contract. All right, if we were purchasing a condo, we would also need the condominium rider or the condo rider. This is not a condo. If this home is inside of an HOA, then we're going to need the HOA community disclosure. So is this home inside of an HOA? Let's take a look. Type of association, none.
None.
It is not in an HOA. So we're not going to add the HOA addendum. Lead-based paint disclosure. If the home was built in 1978 or prior to 1978, then we're going to need the lead-based paint disclosure. So was this home built in 1978 or prior? It was built in 1986. So we do not need the lead-based paint disclosure. All right. Anything here that you'd like to add? I always like to add the addendum, a blank addendum, because you know what? You're probably gonna need an addendum in the future, so why not just add it already? And then we are gonna need the compensation agreement, sellers to buyer broker. All right. We've already talked to the listing agent. The listing agent told us that the seller is willing to pay 3% compensation to the buyer broker. Now, together with the offer, you should add the seller to buyer broker compensation agreement. All right, and then go ahead and click on add to a transaction. And those are the forms I'm going to add to our transaction today. Guys, if you want to review compensation agreements and the buyer broker agreements, I do have a video inside of my YouTube channel called Updates to Buyer Broker Agreement and Compensation Agreement. Please review this. It's an excellent training. It talks about all the different new agreements that we are now using in our industry. All right. I'm going to share the link once again inside the chat for those of you that did not see it or you joined us a little bit late. All right, this is the link to our YouTube channel. I just shared it with you in the chat. All right, so this is not, of course, a class on how to prepare a contract, guys. We do have working with buyers class that we do show you how to prepare a contract. However, I'm going to go in and just touch on some of the important features of the contract. All right, so let's open up the as-is contracts. All right, so we have the seller's names and then you have your buyer's name, right? Right here, we have our purchase price and then what would be the deposit. So let's say we're going to give $10,000 in deposit. All right, our buyers are going to give $10,000 in deposit. The deposit needs to be made within 3 days. Who is the title company? Please contact me if you need help with a title company. We use Marina Title, which is our partners in business, right? Marina Title. And I don't know off the top of my head their address and their email and their phone number. I would have to look it up, but you are going to place their address, their email, their phone number. All right. If you wish to not use Marina Title, if you already have a title company, place the title company here. Okay. Now, is the buyer financing the property or paying cash? If they're financing, how much are they financing? So let's say that they're going to finance 90%. All right, then right away, an additional $75,000 is needed at closing. And that is excluding buyer's closing costs, right? The $75,000, what happened to my deposit here? Why did it disappear? That's weird. Hold on. Let me let me go zero. All right. 10,000 and yeah. I've never seen this before. Maybe it's because I am not actually typing it. Yeah, that was the reason why. All right, so I needed to type it. All right, so 90%. All right, there you go. So what's needed at closing? First, you have a $10,000 deposit. And if you're going to finance 90%, then an additional $65,000 is needed at closing. All right, so the calculation is done for you. If this is a cash deal, you're not going to place any percentage here. You're going to leave it at zero and then balance at close. So letter E, balance at close would be in this case, $740,000, right? Needed at closing. All right, and then time for acceptance. You're placing this offer today. Today is Thursday, September 5th. Normally, we want to count about 3 business days. So let's go to Tuesday, September 10th. So our offer is valid until September 10th. And then your closing date. You'd like to close by what date? So we're going to go and we're going to count and close somewhere around October 10th. All right, somewhere around October 10th. Actually, let's go a little further out. All right, I think that I'm gonna try and go a little further out to the following week. All right, so let's go Tuesday, October 15th. That's much better. All right, so we'd like to close by October 15th. Yes, you can close prior. All right, but this is the closing date. And as you approach the closing date, if you are not clear to close, if you're not ready to close, then make sure that you file an extension to the closing date. All right. All right, so we're going to come down here to this page, and this is financing. So you're going to check B. If it were a cash deal, then you check A. So financing, check B. And a loan commitment is due within 30 days. If you leave it blank, it does default to 30 days. So you might as well put in 30 days. All right. What type of loan is this? Is this a conventional or FHA loan? It's a conventional loan. It's a 30-year loan. And application for a loan must be put in within the first 5 days after the effective date. All right. Drop down to page number 5 and section number 12, your inspection period. All right, so buyers shall have 10 days. If you leave it blank, 15 days. Or if the seller says, hey, we'd like for you to run the inspection and have an inspection period of only 7 days, then you need to come here and switch it. All right. So within the first 7 days, you must perform an inspection, and your buyer has the right to pull out or cancel the contract during the first 7 days and get their deposit returned to them. All right. So keep in mind, you want to go ahead and read section 12 of the purchase agreement. All right. Now, like, as I mentioned, this is not a contracts class, so I'm going to skip through all of this. I'm going to go all the way down here. All right. And then what are we including in our offer? All right. We're really only including a seller's disclosure, which is going to be sent to you by the sellers at some point after you guys are in contract. So remove the last part here that says conveyance to foreign buyer. Remove that. And you're only going to include this. Now, if we were including an appraisal contingency, then we need to check appraisal contingency. If we were including a lead-based paint disclosure, then you need to check lead-based paint disclosure. All right, everyone here understands any forms, any addendums you're including along with the offer needs to be checked. All right. Inside of the additional terms, it already states that the buyer is going to pay a $495 transaction broker fee at closing to Elite Ocean View Realty. And then there is a second additional term that says seller shall close any open or expired permits or code violations against the subject property at seller's sole cost prior to closing. This provision shall supersede paragraph 12C of the contract. All right, if you don't know what 12C means, go back to 12C, read it. Okay. Any other additional terms that your buyer wants to include in the offer, you're going to write it here. All right. Any other additional terms, you're going to write it here. All right, guys, this is the last page where all the signatures go. If it is determined that Elite Ocean View Realty is going to make 3% compensation in this transaction, then next to our name, you're going to put 3%. All right, you're going to put 3%. All right, we're going to go ahead and click on save. We now prepared the contract, right? So the next step is obviously for me to show you how to create an e-signature, okay? Now, if you don't have e-signature or you wish to not work with e-signature, downloading the form is very simple. Select the form and then click on download. All right, you're going to download the form as a PDF file to your computer, and then you can print it. You can take it to your buyer, they can sign it. You can email it to your buyer, they can print it, they can sign it. All right, but if you guys want to use eSign, it's the simplest way for us to obtain signatures, and you're going to see it right here. Okay, you're going to see it right here. I'm going to go ahead and click on eSign. And as a reminder, eSign does have a cost. It's about $84 for the year. All right, so it's not that bad. All right, we're going to uncheck everyone. All right, as the buyer agent, I do not have to sign this contract. My broker does not have to sign the contract. And the listing agent does not have to sign the contract. So we uncheck everyone. All right, we're going to go ahead and click on create a new eSign session. This process here does take about 30 seconds to kind of load, so please be patient. And if it loads right away like it is loading for me, then great. Sometimes the pop-up window is blocked by your browser, and you will receive a message that says the pop-up was blocked. And then there will be a blue link that says click here to open the page. And you're just going to go ahead and click there to open the page. Do not panic. It happens sometimes. All right. Session title. All right. So we're going to go ahead and put in here purchase contract. That is the session title, purchase contract. Any message that you'd like to write to them, go ahead and write there. Please review and sign the purchase contracts. Okay. All right, drop down here. And it is now time to add your client. So you see right here, the recipients, and there's a blue people icon. We're going to click on that. And this is a list of everyone that I've added. Now, if you need to add someone, just go ahead and click on add recipient. You need to add their first and last name, their email address, and then click on save. Okay, now this person that you're adding is, let's say, the attorney, and you want them to delegate the contract over to the buyer. So basically, the attorney is going to review it and they're going to delegate, or the other way around. You're sending it to your buyer who then wishes to share with their attorney. Allow delegation. This allows the recipient to forward the e-signature to another person, like an attorney. All right. So name, last name, email address, save. That's it. All right. I already have Michael Jordan in here, so I'm not going to add him twice. We're just going to go look for him. All right. So here it is. I'm going to go ahead and select Michael Jordan, and we're going to go and proceed by clicking on select. Only one buyer right now. If you need to add another buyer, you add another buyer. If you need to add a third buyer, you add the third buyer. Add everyone who you are representing that needs to sign this purchase contract. Okay? Now, if you are adding more than one person and you want to have everyone sign at the same time, then do not do recipient ordering. Now, if you want Michael to sign first and then the second buyer to then sign second, then you are going to turn this feature on and you're going to say Michael's first, and then that second buyer, you're going to place a number 2, and that would be the sequence in which they sign. All right. So we're going to deactivate this. We only have one buyer. There's no need for us to use this. If you are going to be signing a document, let's say you're preparing a listing agreement or a lead base where you also sign the lead base, then include me as a signer. You want to include yourself as a signer. All right, no need to do that right now. We're going to go ahead and click on next. Buyer number 1 is Michael Jordan. If I had a second buyer, then it would be right here, buyer number 2. All right, we do not represent the seller, so we're not going to add anybody here. We're just going to go ahead and click on next. If we did represent the seller as well, then yes, of course, you're going to add the seller here. All right, we're going to click on next. We're going to click on yes. All right, now you go to the upper right corner, click on next. Here's the contract. All right, everything is already pre-filled the way that you left it, right? Now notice the initial section. All right, it's already in green and it says MJ, right? For Michael Jordan, they need to initial here. Every section that Michael needs to initial is already indicated. You can always add more signature fields or you can add more initial fields. All right. You can add a date field. You can add text. So you can add additional text. Okay. You can also do strike throughs. So you can cross out sections of the contract that you don't agree with. You can underline, you can highlight sections of the contract as well. All right, so it allows you to do all those changes. Once you guys are finished and you want to send it to Michael Jordan, you click on the blue icon on the upper right corner that says send, and we now sent this contract to Michael. All right, so it says sent. Michael's now going to receive an email, all right, asking him to sign this contract. He can sign it from his phone, from his tablet, or a computer. I'm going to show you. I'm going to open up my Michael Jordan email here. And here it is. All right. Here's the email that Michael receives. Remember, I am Michael here. We're just role playing, right? So Roberto Rodriguez has invited Michael Jordan to sign the contract. Please review and sign the purchase contract. Michael's going to then click on review and sign. All right, they're going to agree to the terms and they're going to click on start signing. You see how I am practicing with myself? It is a very good idea for you guys to also practice with yourselves, right? Michael Jordan is, of course, a very famous basketball player, right? The greatest of all time. All right, one of my favorites. So I pretty much use him in a lot of my practice sessions with my personal email, not my business email. I don't want to mix one with the other. So whenever I'm practicing and I need a practice client, I always use Michael. All right, so you guys can do the same. So you guys can become experts at this.
Robert, I have a question.
Yes,
When we practice like this, we cannot delete the document after? Okay, I think
you
happened to
can
me.
archive it, right? So I'm going to get to that. Our office does not allow you to delete a transaction
Mm-hmm.
for obvious reasons, in the event that we get audited or anything. We
Okay.
can archive it, meaning that we can put it in a folder, kind of like a trash folder, but you're not going to be able to delete it.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So Michael received this. Michael's now going to start signing it. Now, can Michael review the contract first? Of course. You see, Michael can read the entire contract. Michael can also download the contract. You see on the upper right corner, he can download it. He doesn't have to sign it right away. All right. Now we're going to go ahead and click on start. And Michael's going to now go through every single section where he needs to apply initials and just click with the mouse, right? With the finger, with the mouse. If they're on a phone, they're just tapping on the screen, they're signing the document. By now, everyone here should know how to work e-signature, because now just about anything you do online requires e-signatures, and it's pretty much the same thing. I remember when e-signatures was new about 10 years ago. All right, this is very new. People weren't really comfortable using this. All right, but look at us now. Everything is e-signature. So apply a date. When he's finished, it says, would you like to complete your e-signing session? Yes. Congratulations. All right, it's been completed. Now Michael's going to receive a copy in their email, and you are going to receive a copy as well. So let's take a look. I'm going to go ahead and refresh my Gmail. This is my business email here. All right. Look, Michael Jordan has signed the purchase contract. So right away, I have the signed contract in my inbox. All right. I have this notification. I'm still waiting on one more email. So let's wait for this. I'm waiting on one more email that's going to tell me, that's going to actually have the contract ready for me to download. That's not the email I'm waiting for. All right. Let's hit refresh one more time. Oh man, it's taking a bit longer than I wanted to take. All right, so the email will, rest assured, the email will show up. It says that the signing session is now complete and you can download the contract. Michael in his email also received this. Here, your documents are ready. All right, and Michael can download his own documents that he signed. This is the actual email I'm waiting for in my Gmail. And for whatever reason, I hope it didn't go to spam. No, it didn't go to spam. All right. What happens if for some reason you don't get the email? Okay, let's take a look. I'm going to go inside of the transactions in Form Simplicity. Man, that email's taking a while to get here, right? We're going to go in here and actually, let me just go home. I can see it here as one of the recent ones. Rather than having to look for the transaction, I'm just going to go home and it should be this one here, right? The most recent one. I want you guys to take a look underneath files. All right, underneath files, it's actually not here yet. So Form Simplicity is taking a while to pre-fill this, but all signed documents will show up under files. All signed documents will show up under files. So apparently it's taking a little longer for that to be delivered. And I have no explanation to why that's taking a while. Let me show you what it looks like. I'm going to go back over here. Let me click on another transaction. And I want you guys to take a look here underneath files. All right, that one, oh, no, that one doesn't have any sign created. Hold on. Let's take a look at one that I do have eSign created for. Well, you know what? I'll take a look at this one here. This one has a ton of eSigns in it. So I want you guys to see underneath files. All right. So we have all the signing finished. So receipt from digital signing, receipt from digital signing. So all these people have signed through eSign. And that's what I'm actually waiting for inside of the transaction itself. So once you get it now, you are going to forward the offer over to the listing agent, right? You're going to forward the offer to the listing agent and as an offer. And how do you forward it? You're going to forward it through email, right? You're going to go through your email, your regular email. You're going to compose an email and you're going to write to the listing agent that you are now submitting an offer. You're going to attach the offer as an attachment that you have already saved in your computer. All right. So of course, my luck during class, the email hasn't come through yet, but I have to have faith in it. It does come through rather quickly. All right. Attach it and then send it over. If you guys need to prepare an addendum at any time, remember we added an addendum. Here it is. All right. So there it is. We just open it. All right. And this would be addendum number 1. With the effective date of today, right? Let's say the contract was signed today. So we're going to go ahead and put in the effective date of September 5th. And then write the terms that you are adding to the contract. So for example, if you need to extend the closing date, then you need to say seller and buyer agree to extend the closing date until October 20th, 2024. And then you're gonna say all other terms and conditions, all other terms and conditions of this contract remain the same. Right, so you prepared the addendum. Right, now it's time for us to get our buyers and seller signature. So once again, you save it. And you don't have to exit the form to prepare an e-signature. You see right here, that's eSign. All right, so go in there and have the form sent over to your buyer for e-signing. Okay, any questions on the e-signatures, guys? Any questions on the e-signatures? Let me show you something. If you're here and you're just waiting and waiting for this, there's a way for us to check the status. So go into your transaction and you see up here where it says e-sign sessions. Let's click on that. All right, so we have here purchase contract, and it's this one, right? We're gonna go ahead and open it. E-sign sessions. All right, it's sent. So apparently there's a kind of a delay here in the updating on Form Simplicity, but it says 1 of 1 is signed. So you guys can always come here and you can access the contract that was signed. See here, session completed and closed by Roberto Rodriguez, signing completed by Michael Jordan. It's just taking forever for us to receive the signed contract. I don't know why. All right, but you can always check the status. So if it says 0 of 1 is signed, then you know that Michael hasn't signed it yet. But if it says 1 of 1 signed, then that means it is now complete. All right, so go to your eSign sessions. Let me take you back to the homepage here. I want to show you something really, really cool, guys. All right. Now we're gonna open up here. We're gonna open up the contract. All right, so we're gonna open up here, and let's say you wanted to share one of these or all of these documents with someone for viewing purposes only, for viewing purposes. All right, you're gonna select them. You're gonna come here and you're gonna click on collaboration. We're gonna click on collaboration. We're gonna click on collaborate. Add the person's email address. All right, we're gonna go ahead and add Michael Jordan. All right, and then please review. Please review, and then send collaboration link. All right, it's asking if you want to add the contact. I don't want to add the contact at this point, right? And now Michael receives an email, all right, where he can see the contracts. See here, manage documents, forms, select them all. Now watch this, guys. This is Michael's email, right? Please review. Michael can always click on this link. I don't know why it's not showing us a link right now, but he can click on the link, supposed to be a link, and watch this. So he has access to these 3 contracts. If I go back to my transaction and I click on manage documents and I remove 2 documents and only leave 1 checked, watch this again. I'm going to go ahead and refresh. Michael only now has access to 1 document. See? 1 document. If I go back now to my transaction and I disable the link, see here, shared link, I disable it. All right, next time Michael clicks on that link, it says the sharing link has been disabled. So basically, anyone that needs access to your documents, you guys can share the documents with them. All they can do is view the documents and download the documents. They will not be able to edit the documents at all. All right. So it's a really cool way for us to maybe share documents with the title company, or maybe share documents with the lenders, or anyone that needs access to the documents. I want you guys to also keep in mind our office, our broker, and myself. I do have access to all of your documents. So if you guys ever need help with a contract, call me. All right. You can send me a copy of the contract, or I can actually log in to the broker dashboard and I can review this contract for you. All right. And so can our broker. Now I'm going to show you something even better. Watch this. All right. We're going to go ahead and click on home. You see this little option here called share, or this little icon for sharing. We're going to click there. All right. Transaction sharing. You guys can create sort of like a team, right? We can click on create team name, and I'm going to call this team training. Team training. And then add a team member. Who's the team member? Well, watch this, okay? You can add anyone from our office. So let's say I want to add Teo. All right, Teo Palmieri. Let's say I wanted to add Paola, right? Paola Moreno. Or I want to add Denise. All right, well, Denise is kind of new. She just joined yesterday. That she'll show up tomorrow. But you guys get the picture. I want to add Jonathan. All right, I can add Jonathan there. So any team member, anyone that works in our office, you guys can add. And then you're going to go ahead and click on what? You're going to click on add, right? And then what type of permissions would you like to give them? I would give them full permission. All right. They're my team member. It's part of my team. So full permissions. or read only, read write, or full permissions plus commission details. All right, so decide what type of permission and then click on create team. What happens now once you create the team? Okay, I'm not going to create this team, but I'm going to show you. You see here, there's teams here, ABC, obviously something I did, in a previous training. And then Yadi and Robert, this is another one that I created. You guys can manage teams, right? You can manage a team. You can add more members to the team, and then you can share. All right. You can just enable the team, and now that person or those persons have access to my transaction with the permission level that I indicated. All right. Click on save. And now when they log into Form Simplicity, they will see your transaction with the permission levels that you indicated. All right. So it's a great way for us to work as a team with another agent. Let's say you guys are co-brokering a deal, and you are the primary agent and they are the co-agent. Just share the transaction this way. Create a team, call it team, team oceanfront condo, whatever it is that you guys are selling. Add the person, give them the permissions, and then share the entire transaction with them. And now they can see the transaction on their side as well. Any questions on that? All right. Any questions on that? This is actually worrying me. This is not coming through. So something's up with Form Simplicity right now. They're a little behind. All right. Michael did receive, right? Michael right away received the contract. But see here, Michael did let's take a look at the contract. All right, download. There it is. All right, just download it. And there it is. Watch. MJ signed. All right, MJ signed. Underneath, in very small print, is the eSign certificate, right? That is what makes this a legal signature. Every page is going to contain an eSign certificate. So if you guys ever wonder whether a signature that was done electronically is legal or not, look for some type of eSign session ID certification. If it does not give it to you, then maybe they did it with Adobe eSign or some other form of eSign. All right. But DocuSign, eSign, Dotloop, all those are versions that we use as realtors. All right. Michael Jordan signed with a date here. And once again, the session ID at the very bottom in lower left. All right, so this is a PDF. So unfortunately, I'm not able to show you that I did receive it via email. Not sure what's going on there, but I showed you that the buyer can actually download the document as well. All right, so let me go back in here. We cannot delete a transaction, unfortunately. All right, notice that when you click on delete transaction, there's no way to click on it. You click on it and it says deleting is disabled by your broker. However, you guys can always archive a transaction right here. You archive it and you're pretty much storing it away in a folder, right? And it's can always be retrieved. When you click on archive, yes, archive transaction, it's no longer going to be on my homepage. Let's take a look. All right, we're going to click on home. And this 9901 training is no longer on my homepage. All right, we're going to click on transactions. And there is a folder here called archives, right? See here, archive transactions. Let's click on that. And you're going to see now the file that we just archived right here, 9901 training. You can always unarchive this transaction, right? You can always jump right in and you can place it back as an active transaction. See, unarchived transaction, all right? Now, guys, using Form Simplicity is very simple. It takes a little getting used to, practice. All right, practice. Now, I do want to show you one thing. I did start my transaction from inside of Matrix. What happens if you don't start the transaction from inside of Matrix? All right, let's just click on start a new transaction. We're gonna call this 9705 Southwest 4th Terrace. I already used this once, but I'm gonna call it training. All right, and we're gonna name it the same. This is going to be a residential, and this is gonna be a listing. We're gonna list this property, okay? We're gonna click on create a transaction. All right, so here's the transaction. So how do we populate information into this transaction if we didn't grab it from the MLS, right? So when you're doing a listing, it's not on the MLS. You're trying to get it to the MLS, right? So you're going to import the data right here where it says import property data. Click there. We're not looking for an MLS listing ID. We're looking for tax search. And we're going to put in house number 9705 and 4th Terrace. This is in zip code 33174. And this is in Miami-Dade County. We're going to click on find tax data. All right. This is the property down here, 9705 Southwest 4th Terrace. It is. Click on select. Now you're bringing in everything. You're bringing in the seller's name, their address, the legal description of the property. You're bringing everything in. Click on save information to the transaction. And now you can begin adding the listing agreement and all the forms you're going to use. So that is how you would actually create a transaction without using the MLS. All right, go straight to Form Simplicity, click on create a transaction, and then import the data. All right, import the data. Any questions on what we just did? Otherwise, guys, you would actually have to go here once you create the transaction, show more data, and you would have to plug in all this information yourself, right? You would have to find out the legal description, copy and paste it over, the year built, bedrooms, bathrooms, things like that, stuff that we can always just import from public record. All right, folks, so this is going to now complete our Form Simplicity training. Yes, there's other things like My Files. All right, but My Files pretty much is just a storage, something that you guys can store. So if you want to store files in here, just click on Upload Files, and you can always upload a file. All right, otherwise, that is pretty much how you're going to use Form Simplicity, whether you're working a purchase, a listing, or a rental. You're always going to go to the transactions, create that transaction, and add the forms, get your e-signatures done, and continue to, add addendums or make changes, modifications. Everything is used through Form Simplicity. All right, folks, does anyone here have any questions before we end the program? All right.
So far, no.
All right, so as usual, guys, everyone understands. So I'm very happy that you understand. And if there's no other questions, we're going to go ahead and end the program. So thank you so much for joining us today for Form Simplicity. I hope that you found this training useful. And if you have any questions and you want to talk to me, you guys can always call me and we can speak on this or any other subject. All right, guys, have a great day, everyone.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Robert.
Robert.
You're welcome. Thank you.